Alright, just remember guys, I'm at Cedar Point right now, riding rides while you're working right here, so don't be too mad at me. We are working with parabolas, and we have, first of all, we have the vertical equation, and this is when my x value is squared. So as soon as I see that x value being squared, I know that it's either going to be up or down. So I'm going to have a vertex at h comma k, and then if I go plus p, I will have my focus, and if I go minus p, I will have my directrix. Remember, we always draw the parabola away from the directrix, so it's perfect. The next situation that we can have is we could possibly have a horizontal, and the only thing that changes with the horizontal is my equation. So I write y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h. And you haven't asked the question yet, but I know you're going to. It is always 4p. Always 4p right there. Why 4p? We can talk about that when we get back, but just recognize it's always 4p. So the only thing that changes with my red equation or my horizontal equation is now my axis is going to be horizontal. I'll always have my h and k, but this time I'll go plus p in the horizontal direction to get my focus. I'll go minus p to draw my directrix, and then I can draw my parabola away. So using that information right now, we're going to knock out a couple problems on this 6.2. Alright, here we go. So we'll do the first problem right now. Hopefully you've had a chance to work on it by yourself first. And now you can look at the way that I do it. So first off, I'm going to say, is this horizontal or is this vertical? I see my y is squared, so I want to get it into this form right here, 4p x minus h. So in order to do this, I'm going to move this x over to the other side. And that gives me y squared equals negative x. And you see that I do not have an h and k, so I could rewrite this as y minus 0 squared equals negative 1 x minus 0. So right away, I know that my h and k are 0, 0. So I will list that. So the only question left is what is my p-value? So my p-value is always right here, and that corresponds to 4p. So every time I say 4p equals negative 1, divided by 4, so p equals negative 1/4. So now I am ready to graph. Because the y is squared, I know that this is going to be horizontal. So I have my vertex at 0, 0. If I go over negative 1/4, there's my focus. And if I go back 1/4, there's my directrix. So my directrix is going to be x equals a positive 1/4. And my focus is going to be at negative 1/4 comma 0. And I can draw in my parabola. Perfect. Alright, so when we look at the second problem, we recognize right away that the x is squared, so this is going to be a vertical, so it needs to be in this form right here, equals 4p y minus k. And the good thing about this is I think we already have almost all those pieces. I know my h value is negative 1/2. Remember to take the opposite. I know my k value is 3. In order to get my p value, again, p value is always equal to 4p. So 4 equals 4p, divided by 4, p equals 1. So now I'm ready to graph. So if I have an h value of negative 1/2, and then up 3, 1, 2, 3, I have that point right here, and my p value is 1. Because the x's are squared, it's vertical, so I can go up 1 to find my focus, and my focus is actually going to be at negative 1/2 comma, what's that, 4? and then my directrix is going to be down 1. So if I go back 1 from there, I'm going to end up right here, and my directrix is going to be what? Y equals a positive 2. And then I can draw in my beautiful parabola. Perfect. Alright, for this one, instead of giving you the equation, I just give you a couple points. So if I know my vertex is at the origin, that tells me h is 0 and k is 0. So I can go ahead and label that spot right there. My focus is 0 and minus 2, so I go down 2, so there's my focus right there. Well, if I went down 2 to get my focus, I need to go up 2 to get my directrix. So that's going to be y equals positive 2. So the question is to write the equation. And I know that this opens down because it's got to be away from the directrix and the focus is always inside. So I know my general equation is x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k. And I just plug in. I know h and k are 0. So I get x squared equals, and my p-value has to be negative 2 because I went down 2. 4 times negative 2 and y. Now my x and y are all by themselves because my vertex is at 0, 0. So I have x squared equals negative 8y. So there's my equation. Easy. Alright, for the next problem, again, we know the vertex is at the origin, so that's 0 and 0. And I know my directrix is at x equals 3. So let's draw this. If I go to x equals 3, I go 1, 2, 3 on my x-axis. And I can draw this in. So if I went 3 to the right, I'm going to go 3 to the left to get my focus. So I know that my parabola opens that way. So because it's a horizontal parabola, I'm going to write my general equation. This time it's going to be y minus k squared. And again, I know that because it's horizontal, equals 4p x minus h. When I put 0 and 0 in for h and k, I'm going to get y squared equals 4 times minus 3 times x. Oh, by the way, I do know that p-value. How far did I have to go to get to my focus? So I counted over 1, 2, 3. And it's negative 3 because I counted to the left. So this would give me y squared equals 12x. And I have my equation for that one. Alright, I feel a little bit bad about number 5 because I think that I wrote it incorrectly on your sheet. The actual equation, I'm just realizing this as I'm at home right now going through this, so I'm sorry if that counts for anything. So I think the new part is I don't, at least on the sheet that I have, I didn't include that x right there. So hopefully your sheet doesn't say that. Hopefully your sheet included that x, but if not, I am so sorry. So if you take a look right here, this is where we have to complete the square. This was the last problem we were working on yesterday. I need to get it into this form right here. Y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h. So in order to get it into this form right here, I have to get my y values by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 4x to both sides. So that gives me y squared minus 4y plus blank. Actually, I'm not going to do that yet. Equals 4x. Now, I'm going to have to take this part right here and I need to complete the square. So the way that I rewrite this right now is I say y squared minus 4y plus blank equals 4x plus blank. The reason I have that blank there is I have to go ahead and complete the square. And if I add something to the left, I also have to add something to the right. So I have to have those blanks on both sides. Alright, we talked about this right at the end of class yesterday. I always take that b value and divide by 2. It's negative. We can put that in there. And then I square it. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2, and negative 2 squared is positive 4. So I'm always going to be adding on both sides. Now, I can rewrite this as y minus 2 squared equals 4x plus 4. So now we're really, really close. There is no doubt at all that this looks just like that. The only thing that we have to fix right now is that other side. So I'm going to go ahead and factor. You guys like GCF? So I think I can factor out of 4, and I get x plus 1. So I have y minus 2 squared equals, 4, and then x plus 1. Sweet. So what's h, what's k, and what's p? And we've been doing this since the first side. We know that h is negative 1 because it's got to be the opposite. K is 2, and for p, I have it equal to 4 right here. So if I say 4p equals 4, I can divide by 4 on both sides, and I get p equals 1. Alright, so now let's take that information right there. Let me choose a cool color right here, and we will graph it. So if I have hk of negative 1, 2, negative 1, 1, 2, so there's my vertex, and it looks like my focus is 1 away. Again, y is squared. If y is squared, I have to go horizontally. So I know that my focus is plus 1. I know that my directrix is minus 1. So I have x equals negative 2. My focus is at what? 0, 2. And I can draw in my parabola. Alright, completing the square is the toughest piece that you guys are going to have to work through. Just remember, whatever you add to complete the square on the left, you also add it on the right. And the key is always that b value divided by 2 squared. Okay? You have lots of homework from yesterday, and you have homework again today. Remember, I'm looking at odd problems. So rock and roll, you should use the rest of the class to get this done. I'm going to go ride the dragster right now. Have a great time. We'll see you. Hey, I'll be here Friday morning, and I'll be here Friday after school if you guys got questions. Sweet. See ya.